Alright, what's up everybody? This is Cam's Garage back with another video. Um, Pretty cold out, so best thing we can do today is going to be some maintenance. I do know that the kids are going to be riding this weekend and we will live stream the riding, so if you want to see that, make sure you tune in. But I done maintenance on my bike yesterday, which what we done was routine thing that we always do, which is we wash the air filter, which should be washed every ride, but I have an extra one, so I do change in between them. But so we washed the air filter that I had this time instead of changing, and then we checked our coolant, we checked our brake pads, we checked our brake fluid, and then we went ahead and checked the oil on it. We checked the spark plug on it, and then we took the rear wheel off, the rear axle out. We greased it, greased the hub, and then we cleaned our chain, and we greased our chain, and then we just basically wiped all the extra dirt inside the plastics on the inside, so inside of here and stuff. um, all the plastics look good on the outside from when you wash the bike, but you never really tend to the inside, and especially around where the air box is right here inside of this plastic. It'll catch all that dust that dries up when you're running the bike at high speed. It'll catch all that dust and stuff, so the better care you take of your bike, the longer it lasts, basically. And so yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today on this one, except for this is a two-stroke, so we're going to be pulling the reed cage out, checking the reeds. We're going to be taking the spark plug off, checking it. The oil I know is good, so we don't have to check it. We'll check the brake pads and the brake fluid on it. We'll clean the chain, and then we'll take his rear wheel off, and we will re-grease the axle, check the hub, make sure everything's going good there, and then yeah, he'll be ready to ride this weekend. So we're going to go ahead and get started and jump into it. I already have this one plastic off right here, so we're going to go ahead and take this plastic off and remove the fuel tank. He also has an extra air filter, so we went ahead and put that in. I don't think there's a whole lot of gas in this tank, because every time he brings this bike in to park it, he leaves the fuel on, and it overflows the carburetor. The seat to the carburetor, it gets a little gummed up on the inside and doesn't know when to stop. So I always end up with a beautiful puddle of gas, two-stroke fuel, right in my floor. So it's a big shout out to my son. Thank you. I love it every time. Yeah, this is a 2017 KX85. flathead screwdriver. And I know I sound a little under the weather. Kids brought something home from school and I ended up catching it. Two of them were already not feeling so well, and then it doesn't take long after that and you end up catching it too. So perfect day while no one's feeling good to go ahead and get this done. Pop this fuel line off here. So looks like our petcock's working pretty good. It's keeping the fuel in. That's a good thing. Alright, next we're going to go ahead and remove this spark plug. Take a look at it. We do have a little bit of build up on it, as you can see. Let me see if I can get the camera to focus. A little bit of a build up, but it's running right. Looks real good. So I think we're okay there. We'll kind of clean this up with the spark plug cleaner that I have, and so we actually have an old spark plug cleaner. We'll just run it up in there a few times. Don't need to be much. You don't want to do it too hard, because there's a certain gap in between right there that makes your spark, and you want that gap to stay the same. So once you get that done, you take a rag just wipe off the tip, just the tip. Get your spark plug looking back nice and pretty. So that's a good spark plug. We'll reuse that. We'll set that aside. And then next, we're going to go ahead and take this carburetor off. We'll go ahead and get on that now. Not a whole lot of room to work down in here. But Kawasaki's got one of the better frame designs on their bikes, so it's not very hard to get to. All right. So top of the bolt, or the top of the carb looks good. Needle jet and all. I'll bring you guys over to see what we're doing. Top of the carb, needle jet, looks really good. And we're down here working in this tight space. Give me just a few seconds to remove this carburetor, and I'll get you guys back in. Let's see. All right. Boy, this hose is on there very good. Lord have mercy. That hose was on there. So it looks like we got a little bit of dirt and gunk. So before I put all this back together and run the machine, I will clean out and wipe off all of this. Even the carburetor will clean it up very well. I don't like taking stuff apart and then rerunning it before you clean it, so I think it's best that you go ahead and clean it. As you can see there, we have fuel definitely in the float or in the bowl. So we'll go ahead and get rid of all the fuel. Alright, sweet. We got the original key and carb that comes on it. The original OEM carb, number one. That's number one to anything running right. Amazon is not going to help you out. eBay, you're going to pay a whole lot for a carb that's OEM. But if you get the OEM carb, you won't have these problems that everybody has with these Amazon carbs, these Chinese stuff. It's not gonna run right. So now, flip the old handy dandy screwdriver around. Pop into the first part. Now I do know that this carburetor runs great, so we will not need to jet it or adjust the idle screw or the air fuel mixture screw, any of it. The only thing we need to do is open it up and look inside and make sure that the carburetor looks okay. Meaning that there's not a whole bunch of gunk and stuff stopping the float. That's what we're checking now. So we got our screws off. So give the carburetor just a little tap on each side. Now this is the first time we broke into the carburetor since we got the bike. They've only rode it 2 or 3 times. So what you're getting to see inside is going to be the same thing that I get to see inside for the very first time. Okay? So having a little bit of a tough time getting it off. Not sure why it's not coming, but I do not want to force it, so go ahead and remove this bottom part. Everything looks great on that. Tried to see if it'd give me a little bit of a understanding of why the carb wasn't coming apart. Okay, so we do look like we got some gasket maker around, so obviously that tells me that he's been having a leaking, the guy who had the bike before I did was having a leaking problem out of it too. But everything up in there looks brand new. It's really good. So since the bike runs and everything, I would say that you're not going to need a adjustment on anything. Like I said, you won't need it. So we'll go ahead and put the carburetor back together, and we'll go ahead and start cleaning the outside of it, so that when we put it back together, we don't have to worry about any problems like dirt getting into the engine or into the reeds. Got the 2 bowl screws back in. Everything looks good. Usually I would wait for my son and let him help me do this so he learns and stuff. But he's at school right now, and he's got a lot to do today, so I know he won't be able to get around to it. So we're just going to go ahead and take care of it for him. So we'll look up here and get maybe not. Look around for the carburetor cleaner. Looks like I'm running a little low on carb cleaner. So we'll have to get some more very soon. Now, most people have an ultrasonic cleaner, and that would 100% be the better way to go. It's quicker, works better, but when you don't have that, you get down to the old ways of doing stuff. Which is not a bad thing. As long as it gets done, right? That's the main concern. Making sure that it's done and done correctly. We should be getting the flywheel puller tool in the next week or so. We had already ordered it. Unfortunately, it wasn't no overnight shipping on that one, so I'm having to wait on it. But that's okay. And once we get that, we will go ahead and start getting the timing chain on the Yamaha that we have been building for the guy. If you know, you know. If you don't, you can watch my channel and figure out what I'm talking about. The funny thing is that the same flywheel puller that goes to that Yamaha is the same flywheel puller that I'm going to be using for this KX85. They're both compatible with the same flywheel puller, so I thought that was pretty interesting. At least I'm not losing out too bad on that, having to buy 3 different ones. The 2020 250F behind me, Kawasaki, is a total different one. So I will have to order another one for that whenever we need it. And the valve shims that go into the Yamaha are the same valve shims that go into the KX250. And of course, the 2-stroke does not need valve shims. Now we're moving right along with the carburetor. But if you don't want to see this, you can speed up the video. I've bought so many bikes before, and the carburetor was just absolutely disgusting. And the reeds were terrible, and other parts on the bike weren't so great either. So this video is, or this part of the video I should say, is going to be for all those youngsters out there that are probably getting your first bike, or you've owned a couple bikes and you're really wanting to learn how to keep maintenance on your bike, whether it's a KX85 or a KX100 or 125 or 250, the proper maintenance that you should do when you ride it. That's what this video is. So we want to teach everybody the correct way of doing it, and that way you don't have to spend a whole bunch of money at the mechanic for him to tell you that your reeds are broken, or that you have a stopped up carburetor, main pilot jet, or something that's clogged. You know, we're trying to save you some money there. Another thing that we did on my other son's bike, the XR70 125 cc engine swap, we put some hard foam in the rear tire instead of putting a tube, and we're gonna see how that works. For the first day that he rode, he didn't ride too hard, but for the first day that he rode, it actually worked pretty good. Worked the same as a tube, if not better. And if it does continue to work out like that, then we're probably going to just swap to that. Tubes are not that hard to put in, but I'm not the best at it. So I have had a couple failures, and it's sad when you buy $20 tube and you go to put it on there and you pinch it, or you overturn the air valve, or you know what I'm saying. You overturn it and you pop it, and then it doesn't work, and that was a brand new tube. So it's pretty sad. So we're trying to knock all that out and get rid of any of that. Plus tubes, when you go through the woods and you hit a branch, or you get a piece of barbed wire or something like that, and it goes up in your tire, it's going to pop it. It's going to pop your tube, and then you're going to be left stranded wherever you're at. Well, this foam that we put into the tire eliminates all that. So anything can jump up in the tire and hit it, and it's not going to pop it. So that's mainly what we're going for. All right, so not 100% clean, but definitely better than it was. If you want, the longer you spend on the carburetor getting all the mud and gunk off, the cleaner it is, obviously. So, and if that's what you're looking for, just take your time, spend some time on the carburetor. It's not very hard to do. That's obvious. Want to make sure that we spray carb cleaner in all these little holes and stuff to get out any remaining dirt that could be in the carburetor. Make sure you don't spray this stuff into your eyes. It burns like crazy too. Alright. So now we have a pretty clean carb here. So whenever we go to throw that back on, we don't have to worry about any dirt getting into anything that we don't want it to get into, thus saving us problems. So now, like I said, not going to be 100% clean, but it's definitely going to be a lot better than what it was. There we go. Carb's done. Set the carburetor to the side, and let's move on to the reeds. Try to warm up my hands for a second because it is freezing cold out here. So that looks like an 8. So we'll go over here. Take us an 8. Hopefully we can do this without tearing up the gasket. if you're impatient like I am, then you can go ahead and speed up the video to where I get the reeds off. And if you want to hear me chat about more nonsense, then you can hang out and listen. We're in the process of making a pretty cool little dirt bike track, should I say. So hopefully we'll have that done soon. And then these kids will be ripping a track in the backyard. And we do go out and ride at places, at certain places. It just really all depends. When it's warmer, it's a lot easier. When it's colder, no one really wants to be in the cold riding. So that's being the kids, not daddy. Daddy will go ride anytime. I'm a diehard. I love riding dirt bikes. I've been riding dirt bikes for 20 years, 20 plus. I started on a PW50 and then quickly moved to a YZ85. And then I didn't have the YZ85 long because I was growing a little bit quicker than that. So I got moved up to a YZ125 very quick. And I rode YZ125s for a long time. And then I had sold the YZ125 and purchased an off-brand 250. Was a bad choice. It had nowhere near the power that I wanted, and it was just all around not so great of a bike. And I'm not going to give the company's name or anything like that. I won't do that to them. But it was just not a great bike at all. So ended up getting rid of it. And kind of let it go for a while. Kind of stopped riding for a while and then picked riding back up. I had a four-wheeler. I had a 2008 TRX 400EX. That was in really mint condition. But I was just looking for a 450 because I'm a bigger kind of guy. So, and then a guy brought this KX 250 over and said that he would trade. So I gave it a shot and I rode it and was very impressed with the amount of power that the KX 250 had, and then all the different maps that came along with it. I was very surprised at the versatility between a bigger rider. Like I said, I like how they do their things. You know, they make it easier for a big rider and a small rider with the adjustable handlebars, the adjustable foot pegs, all the stuff that they do to kind of conform to more than just one type of rider. And then the factory KYB suspensions really held up really well. I like it a lot. Now I did drain a lot of money into the bike, so my bike is not stock. We got Wiseco piston, and then we have The suspension has been redone. The rear suspension has been redone. We do run Dunlop MX 33s and 34, just depending on what I want at the time. And then we have a whole bunch of other stuff, little odds and ends on the bike. So it's not stock by any means. But it is. Oh yeah, and we had the heads. The head's been ported, and I've had a little bit of head work done from HBR, which they do a very good job. If I do take my bike anywhere, that's the only place that I go is HBR. So he's a really good guy. He does really good work. He actually done this too. He redone. He dialed it in. He done the piston rings. He put the new reeds in there, and then he adjusted the carburetor, and he got it running really well. And this bike right here rips. It's very fast. So I was very happy with what he did. Okay, that's going to take a little bit more force to get out. Hopefully we don't rip this gasket. I'm really nervous about that. Wow, the reeds are in there. Well then. Alright, now there goes one side. And there goes the other. So, looks to me as maybe there wasn't a gasket after all. Maybe I was just being a little girl. about it. There's no offense to any women or anything. I was making a joke. So, we have carbon fiber reeds inside. Now again, I didn't do any of this, so it's hard for me to tell what kind of reeds those are. So if you know, drop it down in the comments and help me out, because I have no clue. But what we will do is we'll take this lip off and do a little bit deeper investigation. And maybe it'll say at the bottom. I do know this bike runs very good, so whatever kind of reeds they are, I would like to replace with the same reeds if I have to in the future. The oil was changed not too long ago, so yeah. I still can't tell, but there it is. So, all carbon fiber. Straight carbon fiber reeds. I do know like the V-Forces are carbon fiber, and I know they're like really popular right now. So that could be what this is. Then again, I had V-Forces for my blaster, so not 100% on whether they make V-Forces for dirt bikes. I would assume that they do, though. But the reeds are definitely in great shape. So that's awesome. That's awesome to know. So now we've done our maintenance. We took a look, and when you do take your reeds off, what you're looking for is chipping around these corners right here and right here. And then you're looking to see if the reed moves, and you want it to move freely, but you want to hold it up to the light and make sure that you're not seeing any light up through it. So if there was like a gap in the top up here and you could see a little bit of light through, then you would want to replace those reeds. That could cause it to run rough, to bog. It could cause a lot of different things. So yeah, looks pretty good. So now we'll get this all back together, and we'll put our spark plug back in, and we'll check our coolant and our brakes and everything. So I'll get back to you as soon as I get there. So right now I'm just wiping down the area where this reed basket makes contact with the head. I just want to make sure that it's very clean, and then also wipe down the area to where your carburetor boot will mount as well onto here. So there's no certain way that this goes in. It can go in either way. That's from my understanding. So if I'm wrong, you can yell at me in the comments, and then you can laugh about it. And at the very end of the video, I'll do a quick fire up and show you that everything is running correctly. And usually we clean these bikes every time we ride. But this last time he rode, he was not able to clean it. It was way too cold for him to wash the bike off. So I told him to get a rag and come inside the shop and clean it. And he was just not able to get everything that he needed to get. So next time he should be able to clean it. I'm really interested on going inside the head and looking at the piston. And we're going to do that in probably one of the next few rides that he does. He's just as interested as I am to see it. So I told him in the next few rides, we will go inside the head and check on the piston and the cylinder and rings and all that good stuff. is so hard to get my big old hands in here to work on this thing. It's almost impossible. All right, now with that, we can tighten down the reed cage and the boot. And you want to tighten them in a crisscross pattern. All right. So far, so good. Everything looks better. Now, we will go ahead and mount this carburetor back. There we go. Put this in here. All right, we're on there. Now your main needle jet can only go on one way, so you can't really mess that up. All right. Then tighten on the hose clamps. Make sure it's seated all the way around so you don't have a leak. And yes, I could probably change this in record time if I wanted to, but I like to take my time, and I like to make sure that I done it correct the first time instead of doing it all very fast and then realizing that you have a problem, or that you forgot to install one of your jets inside the carburetor. And then having to take it all back apart just to put one jet in it. It's so much better just to take your time. Take your time with what you're doing and really pay attention, and you'll have a lot better luck. Spark plug going back in. And guys, remember, you do not have to torque that spark plug down. do not have to crank it down at all. All I'm doing here, I get it seated, finger tight. I take the clamp, or I mean, you can use a socket, however you want to do it. It was easier for me to grab this, so take it, and I take that, and I give it not even a quarter turn. It's half of a quarter turn, just to seed. That's it. No more, because if you strip that out, I've heard of a lot of people saying helicoil, you can do all that. You can, I'm sure you can, but if you strip it out, you have to go through all that process to helicoil it, and then it's not even a guarantee, and you will go down in compression, because that helicoil is never going to be the same. Now, another thing you can do while you have the spark plug off is you can do a compression test, which I could have done for y'all. Well, let's go ahead and do it while we're here. Give y'all a compression test. That way you know how to do that as well. Now you will need a compression tester. So if you have one laying around the shop, awesome. And if not, you can get them just about anywhere. But this is what a compression tester looks like. You can pick them up on Amazon, on eBay, and on any moto website. There's a lot of sites you can pick them up off of. So, good compression is usually 160 is a rebuild. Anywhere around 140, 150 is good compression. And the least that I would accept to be rideable would be about 125. So it should be kicking off at least 125. And what I'll do is I'll kick it a couple times, and then I'll bring y'all over to see what the compression looks like. And if you already know about this, or you don't want to see the compression test, you're more than welcome to fast forward through it. Next after this is just going to be coolant check, brake fluid check, which we topped it off when we got the bike, so I'm sure it's okay. Brake fluid looks good up here. Can't really see. It looks good for the back too. So I have a container right here instead of it being a master cylinder with a side glass. And then we will pull the rear wheel off, and we will grease the axle and grease the hub, and then we will do the chain. We'll clean it, grease it, and then yeah, that's pretty much a wrap. So if you're not interested in the rest of the video, then that's okay. And if you want to see those, then you're more than welcome to hang out with us. Take a look. Alright. I have flip-flops on, so okay, so what we got was exactly what I said. 100, almost 125. So we're going to release the air on it. And we're going to try it again. And make sure that's where we're at. And if so, we will have to replace the piston. And it's not crucial that you do that, but before you have any more issues out of it, you may want to. So I feel like my compression tester's losing air. All right, a little bit higher on that one. A little bit higher. We're at 135 on that one. So I believe it's just me and my fat foot. So but in the next couple of rides, we will be taking it apart regardless. And then let's see, I got about 125 on the first one, 135 on that one. I believe if I kept kicking it and I kept getting the proper kick stroke, that I could probably get it up a little bit higher. but I don't think 150 or 160 is where it's going to be. And when you buy a used dirt bike, you never know what they put it through. So you'll never be able to tell until you just go ahead and replace it yourself. So if you just take the time and go ahead and replace it yourself, then you won't have to worry whether it's good or not. Alright, so next we'll go ahead and put our spark plug back in for the final time. And it is really cold out here, and all the oil that was in the bike has drained to the bottom. That's obvious. So if I was to take my little bottle and add some oil, I could probably get a little bit more out of it. But you really should invest in one of these, especially if you're building dirt bikes or working on dirt bikes at all. They work very well for this situation. Getting down into that head and getting oil around that piston and around them rings, and that'll kind of seat it better. So, all right, then we have a little bit of gas left in here. What didn't drain out on him. We'll take our hose. Hook up our hose. Take our hose and hook it up. That's where the gas tank should be sitting. Turn our fuel on and look at the carburetor bowl. And what you're looking for is any leaks or any sign of gas coming out of the carburetor. That's no bueno. So kind of give it a second. I just noticed that this little bit of an overflow hose was not on it. So we'll put that back on. it's not gonna stay on, so I'll have to get another overflow hose. But all this hose does is come from the bottom of the carburetor where the bowl is, and it runs down, so any overflow or leakage or whatever would go through the tube and onto the ground instead of onto the case of your dirt bike, causing all that gunky mud and stuff. Alright, so I would say that the bowl is full. Pull up the choke. Get some gas in there. It's probably better if I take it off the stand. May be a little bit easier for me. Everything about this bike is super tiny. It's nowhere as big as what I thought it was when I was young and riding this bike. So, all right. True test. Oh, it would help if you put the wire back on the spark plug as well. That could be why you're not getting any power. That's what I'm talking about when it comes to rushing. So, like I said, if you put the wire, the coil, ignition coil back on top of the spark plug, it will fire up. I knew there was something wrong after the third kick and it didn't fire because this bike is in great shape. So, shouldn't have had a problem. So now that we've got that, and it also doesn't seem to be leaking from the carburetor anymore, which is a very good thing as well. It could have been just the float getting stuck and it needed to be took apart and reopened. It can be a million different things. But now that we got that out of the way, we know the bike fires up. We can put gas tank bolt back in. And gas tank holder back on. As we are done with that, lift up the bike. And then, okay, come over here. I do not advise you hammering on the axle, especially on the nut, the end that the nut goes on, because you will mushroom the head of it and it will not allow you to get that nut back on. But I'm not tapping hard enough for any of that to happen. I'm just tapping it out to where I can get it loose down here, and then I can pop the tire forward and take the chain off. That chain is a little sticky, so it will need replaced soon. We are also pretty thin on brake pads in the back, right there. So the tire still will move, but it's kind of perched up there right now, so I'm going to leave it. And then brake pads on the front. I don't know if you can really see in there, but they will need changed at about the same time that I do the rear. So here we go with the axle. All that. First off, we barely have any grease on it, so we're definitely going to want to grease it. But all that grease is dirty, nasty. There's dirt everywhere. and this doesn't really want to move. As you can tell, it takes a lot of force for it to move. So we will take all these parts off and we will clean them thoroughly, and then we will re-grease them. This is all the maintenance that you're going to have when you have a dirt bike, and especially it being one like this. Like, this is definitely more than just a little dirt bike. It's basically a racing dirt bike. They do race these, so all this is a rag that has my purple degreaser and soap mixture. I make my own degreaser / soap that I use on all the bikes. You can ask in the comments and I will get you the same thing that I use, but it works very well, and I don't have to go out and buy 3 or 4 different products for 3 or 4 different things. I can just mix my own product for the same thing and it cleans up very well. So that's what I do. So then once we get part cleaned off, we'll take our dry rag, wipe it down, and that same part that you've seen a few minutes ago that was very dirty is now not dirty, and it will move along the axle. So we're going to repeat that process for the rest of it. That same axle that you seen a few minutes ago, now all of that is rust and wear, but it is clean as it's going to get. So now we can go ahead and put this piece back on. You want to put it on the correct way. So these lines are telling you on the rear swing arm there should be notches as well. This is telling you which notch it should be on. So we've already made a mark on ours, so I kind of know where they go. And then for me, I use Maxima racing oils. They got a really good grease. Click their grease. It's really thick. I like it. Works very good. We'll go over this. You don't need a whole gob of grease, but you want enough on there that you notice that you put it on. And I put it on my threads too, and the reason for that is it doesn't allow for all that rust to get onto it. I do have what's it called, anti rust or something. Anyways, anti-seize, that's what it's called. I have the copper-based anti-seize. It's really good. It works as well, but I found that grease does just the same thing that does. So I don't really use it. Now I kind of go ahead and take that off now. Let my axle sit on a rag. And you'll want to take these off. They come on each side. So these are like spacers for the wheel. You'll want to clean all that out and all that out. And then you're going to want to put grease inside of there too. So I'll show you on one. All right. There's the inside. Now that you can see, now that is rust and stuff in there as well, so you can't get it all out, but all the dirt is out. So we got that. From right here. And once we get that, we've got it cleaned out. There's no more dirt there. So there's your bearing. That's your wheel bearing. So now you're going to want to throw grease into here, and it'll also hold that bushing on there for you. So and this may not be the same way that you like to do it. I mean, I am self-taught. My grandfather is the one who helped me do all my maintenance on my dirt bikes and stuff back in the 90s. So he knew what he was doing. But I was too young to pay attention. And back then, all I wanted to do was ride, go fast, and hang out with women and my friends. And you know, it just, you never pay attention when you're a kid, but you never know what you're missing out on either. He's no longer here with me today, and I miss him every single day. I'd do anything to have 5 more minutes with him. He's a great guy. My grandma was the same. If you can't tell, I was raised by my grandparents. They were wonderful people. Some of the best people you'll ever meet. But they're no longer here. It sucks. But we get through. So you'll take your grease and you put it up in there. Get you a good little bit on there. And it doesn't matter if you get it in this hole, because you're going to have an axle running through there that has grease on it anyways. So if you get it on the hole or in the hole, it's okay. Sometimes it's a good thing to hit the hole. All right, now that we've got that done, we can go ahead and mount our wheel back on. This is where it gets a little bit tricky. You can have somebody help you, and it'll make this process a whole lot easier, more manageable. Or you can struggle like I do. Either way, whatever makes you feel accomplished. So once my wheel is in, completely on, we'll take a little bit more of our grease. Somebody honking the horn. And we can put our grease up. And we still got to clean this one. We'll put that on. We'll put our washer back on. Put our nut back on. Oh, that's so nice. That nut spins all the way to the frame, or to the swing arm, excuse me. Okay. Right before you tighten it up, pop it back forward, take your chain, slide your chain back on. Once you get your chain on, probably work better coming from the bottom to do that. So, anyways, once you get your chain on, you're gonna take a rag. I'll try to see this. You're gonna take a rag, and you're gonna put it right here, and then you're gonna roll this bike backwards. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna tighten right there. Did you see it? It tightens it. You can see it on this side. You can see that axle jumping forward. That tightens your chain, and you'll have 2 fingers is what it should be. So once you get there, then you can go ahead and tighten that bolt down. And you can tighten these bolts to spec. I've always found that if you give a couple ooga-oogas on there, you'll be good. There's 2 ooga-oogas. And if you watch us live, you can see whether his axle comes off or not on him. But it won't. All right. Well, that's it. So now the rest is just getting plastics back on. And we know that she runs and she cranks. So we've done the best maintenance that you can do for a 2-stroke. You can do a few other things. You know, you want to clean your air filter, obviously clean it. You want to replace your fluids, then obviously replace them. And if I had the brake pads, then we would have been taking the brake pads off of there and getting them right for them too. So now that I know that I need them, I can go ahead and order them. And it's still not out of spec, so his brake pads are not grinding the disc yet. So we have plenty of time to order brake pads and get them on there for him. But that's why we do routine maintenance so much. It's because not only does it keep the bike healthy and it makes the bike last longer, but you also get to know, hey, I need some brake pads, or hey, I'm running low on oil, or hey, my spark plug's about to foul, or hey, my piston's about to go out and I've not got the right compression. You see, we would have never known that had I not take the spark plug back off and put that compression tester on there and went ahead and gave it a couple kicks. We would have never known. We would have done it next time when it was a little bit worse. And then pretty soon you keep putting it off and off and off and off, and then you get, you know, a blown head or a blown piston or something like that. When you can just check these things, yes, it takes an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours sometimes to do your maintenance, but at least now you know what you need for the bike. And you've done that maintenance. So now when it comes time to ride tomorrow, the kids don't have to stand around and wait on me to do it, or they don't have to do it themselves. They can just jump on and go ahead and ride. When they get done, their bike's still in great condition. They put a couple hours on it. I mean, it's awesome. So I really appreciate you guys for tuning in to the 2017 KX85 maintenance. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. If you like the channel, subscribe. You're more than welcome to watch any more of the videos that I've already got posted. We do lives all the time where we're going through bike maintenance, where we rebuild motors, where we're racing sometimes on the weekends, where we go to the track sometimes, where we're just having fun. You know, kids try to do wheelie contests, whatever. You know, we're always doing something. Sometimes we're doing concrete, sometimes we're shooting stuff, sometimes we're building stuff. You'll never know what you'll catch us doing. So if you like all that and, you know, you want to join this train, then hop on, come take a ride with us. We'd love to have you. And none of this would be possible without you. So I really appreciate y'all tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.